I still remember the day I left my village, the smell of freshly turned soil, my mother's hands rough with calluses, pressing a small cloth bag of zloty into my palm. "America will change you, Kasia," she whispered. "But don't let it take away who you are." That was 28 years ago. I was 22, with a single suitcase and a nursing school acceptance letter that might as well have been made of gold. The journey from my farming village near Krakow to Chicago stretched before me like an unconquerable mountain. Yet here I stand today, a senior nurse who's helped deliver over 3,000 babies and fought for those the system tries to ignore. My name is Kasia. This is my story. Our farm was small, just enough to feed our family with a little extra to sell at the local market. I grew up watching my parents wake before dawn, their backs bent in the fields until sunset. My hands learned early what work meant, milking cows, planting potatoes, weeding until my fingernails were permanently rimmed with dirt. "Books won't feed you," my father would say when he caught me reading by candlelight. But my mother would slip me extra candles and whisper, "Dreams feed the soul, little one." School was my escape. While other children dozed through lessons, I soaked up knowledge like our dry fields after rain. My science teacher noticed me first. "Kasia has the mind of a doctor," she told my skeptical parents. That seed grew inside me, perhaps not a doctor, but something in medicine. Something that could take me beyond our village boundaries. The fall I turned 18, my cousin in America sent a letter about nursing programs in Chicago. 3 days later, I found myself at the village's only computer, filling out applications with trembling fingers. "You'll come back changed," the village babsha warned me. "America takes more than it gives." I was too young to understand what she meant. My first Chicago winter hit me like a physical blow. The cold was different from Poland's, sharper, meaner, amplified by wind tunnels between skyscrapers I couldn't stop staring at. My student apartment cost $450 a month, nearly all I earned washing dishes at a Polish deli 6 blocks away. The nursing program was conducted in a language I'd learned only from textbooks. The first semester, I recorded every lecture and played it back at half speed, translating unfamiliar words one by one. I slept 4 hours a night that whole year. My roommate, another Polish girl, dropped out by Christmas. "Why torture yourself?" she asked, packing her bags. "We can make more money cleaning houses than we ever will back home." The question haunted me through nights of medical terminology and anatomy charts. Why push so hard when the path of least resistance beckoned? I called my mother on a calling card that gave me 20 minutes for $10. "The potatoes are planted," she told me, as if nothing had changed. "Your father's back is worse. The Kowalski boy got married." I didn't tell her about my 93% on the anatomy final, or how I'd cried in a bathroom stall after a clinical instructor mocked my accent in front of a patient. I didn't mention the nights I'd stared at my return ticket, wondering if I should use it. Instead, I asked about our cherry tree, whether it had blossomed yet. She told me it had, and somehow I found the strength to continue. By my 3rd year, something changed. My hands learned a new language, the language of care. These hands that once pulled potatoes from Polish soil now found veins on first attempts, changed dressings with gentle precision, and held the hands of the dying when no one else would stay. My first real nursing job came at County Hospital, where new immigrants landed when illness struck and they had nowhere else to go. My accent became an unexpected bridge. Patients from Eastern Europe clutched my hand with relief when they heard familiar inflections in my English. "She understands," they'd tell their families. "She knows what it's like." I worked night shifts for 5 years straight, the unpopular hours that paid slightly more. I sent $200 home each month, enough to put a new roof on my parents' house and help my younger sister through university in Warsaw. The hospital was a world in miniature. Pain speaks the same language everywhere. I saw the undocumented construction worker who waited 3 days with a broken arm before seeking help, terrified of deportation. The Ukrainian grandmother who couldn't afford insulin. The Mexican children translating complicated medical terms for their parents, their small faces serious with responsibility. Something broke open inside me. The distance between their struggles and mine collapsed into nothing. 10 years into my nursing career, I met Elena. She was cleaning hospital rooms when severe abdominal pain doubled her over. By the time they brought her to the ER where I worked, her appendix had ruptured. No insurance, she whispered to me in broken English. No papers. Please help. I stayed with her through surgery. Watched her recover, terrified of the bill that would follow. When she told me she'd lose her apartment over the $23,000 she now owed, I couldn't sleep for days. The next week, I found myself at a community meeting about healthcare access for undocumented immigrants. I hadn't planned to speak. But when the microphone came around, words poured out like water through a broken dam. These are human beings, I heard myself saying. They build your houses and clean your hospitals and grow your food. They deserve care just like anyone else. A doctor approached me after the meeting. We need nurses like you speaking up, he said, handing me his card. We have an advocacy group. Come join us. My path shifted that night. I was no longer just a nurse. I became a voice. The advocacy work started small, educational sessions at Polish churches, then Spanish-speaking communities. I learned to navigate the bewildering healthcare system and taught others to do the same. I fixed my own accent only to realize it was an asset, a sign to others that I too had made this journey. Nurse Kasia understands became a phrase that opened doors. I helped create a network of healthcare providers willing to treat patients regardless of status. We set up Saturday clinics in community centers where undocumented workers could get basic care without fear. I testified before city committees about what I'd seen: children with asthma attacks whose parents waited too long to seek help, pregnant women without prenatal care, diabetics sharing insulin because they couldn't afford their own. The work was exhausting. The politics were brutal. For every step forward, we faced pushback from those who believed healthcare was a privilege, not a right. Go back to Poland if you don't like it here, a man shouted at me after one city council meeting. I thought about my village then, how the entire community had pitched in when the Wojcik family's barn burned down, or when drought threatened everyone's crops. No one had asked about worthiness or status. Need was the only requirement for help. This is exactly why I stay, I answered him. To remember what being human means. Last year, my parents visited America for the first time. They're in their 70s now, their farming days behind them. I showed them my life here, my small condo with its balcony garden, the hospital where I work, the community clinic where I volunteer. My father, who once doubted the value of my education, watched me speak at a healthcare symposium. I saw him wipe tears when I was introduced as a senior nursing director and patient advocate. Your village would not recognize you, he said afterward. I think they would, I answered. I'm still me. The truth lives somewhere between these perspectives. America changed me. The girl who left Poland would hardly recognize the woman I've become, with my confidence in board meetings and my name on published papers about immigrant healthcare. Yet the core remains, the values of hard work and community care I learned in our fields. I've delivered babies for women who crossed borders to give their children better lives. I've held the hands of elderly immigrants as they took their last breaths in a country that never quite became home. I've trained new nurses from Russia, Nigeria, the Philippines, and Mexico, seeing my younger self in their determined eyes. The greatest gift I've received is perspective, the ability to stand between worlds and build bridges across the gaps. When a new immigrant arrives at our hospital, terrified and in pain, I remember myself at 22, stepping off the plane at O'Hare. The fear. The hope. The courage it takes to begin again. I turned 50 this year. Sometimes I walk through Chicago's streets and marvel at how this foreign place became mine. I still dream in Polish sometimes. I still call my sister every Sunday. Some part of me remains in that small farming village, even as I build my life here. My work continues. The healthcare system still fails too many people. The politics around immigration grow more divisive each year. Yet I've seen what's possible when communities come together. The free clinic we established now serves over 2,000 patients annually. The mentorship program I started has helped 50 immigrants enter nursing careers. If you're standing at a crossroads like I once did, wondering if you can start over in a new country, know this: the path will be harder than you imagine. There will be nights of crushing doubt and days when you question everything. The system will try to make you invisible. Don't let it. Your accent, your different